All right, welcome back everybody to For the Sake of the Parlay. Today is April 9th, 2026, and what we're going to do today is review yesterday's parlay of the day and give you today's parlay of the day, okay? So let's get right into it. All right, so yesterday we actually went 6 out of 8, which is really good, and I will say definitely 6 out of 8. It does include one push, which was the over in the Chicago Cubs and Tampa Bay Rays game, but a push is a win because you did not lose your money. Now, we did lose on Minnesota against Orlando. They did not cover, and the over went under in the Portland and San Antonio game. All right, also now here's the proof that I actually did the parlay with the exception of the Giants Phillies game. I did the video before I put out the pick, but that game was at like 3:45 Eastern time, so I didn't have time to put in the pick for that game. But I am going to go over briefly each game and let you know my thoughts, and then we'll get into the parlay of the day. All right, so we're going to start with the Phillies at the San Francisco Giants, and I want to say I called this and predicted this accurately. First of all, Aaron Nola is a very good pitcher, even though he gave up 3 runs. This game was 0-0 going into the 6th inning. But one of the biggest things that people need to know and why you're on this channel is San Francisco is a great pitcher's park, okay? So more often than not, it's going to be a low-scoring game up in San Francisco because it's cold as hell up there, okay? And they play by the water. It's not going to be a lot of fly balls. It's generally going to be a low-scoring game, okay? So the next game where we pushed was the Chicago Cubs at the Tampa Bay Rays. Um, this should have went over. It was only 5 strikeouts between both pitchers in the whole game, starting pitchers in the whole game, and yeah, it pushed. So a push is a win. Didn't lose the money, but we did on the parlay. However, the next game was Minnesota Timberwolves at the Orlando Magic. Anthony Edwards didn't play, and neither did Julius Randle, and it was kind of close the whole game, but it was just the reserves playing against Orlando, and Orlando's not very good, but without full strength, they really couldn't mess with them. Next game is the Washington Capitals at the Toronto Maple Leafs. I called that. Washington is a better team. This has been a very bad year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are currently just not good, and they just fired their manager, general manager, so it's been a lot of turmoil in the team. Next, I called the over in the Detroit versus Minnesota. Now, unlike San Francisco's park, Minnesota is a very hitter-friendly park, and I called that. And also, Framber Valdez, starting pitcher for Detroit, he got blown up. All right, so I'm gonna be very brief on this one, but all my alternate lines, all 3 of them would have hit. So if you would have took the over 6.5 instead of the over 8 in the Chicago Cubs and Tampa Bay game, you would have won. And also, if you would have took plus 13.5 with Minnesota against Orlando, you would have won. And also, if you would have took over 5.5 instead of over 6.5, you would have won for the Edmonton and San Jose game. And the good thing about these alternate lines is these alternate lines can really make your parlay, okay? And that's what we're doing here. We're making winning parlays, but if I was able to take those lines yesterday, one of the biggest things would have been, one, winning against that Minnesota and Orlando game, and then 2, I wouldn't have pushed in that Chicago Cubs Tampa Bay game. We would have won. All right, here's what y'all been waiting for. Here's the parlay of the day. So first off, we're gonna take Miami against Toronto in the NBA plus 4.5. Then also in the NBA, we're going to take Boston at New York Knicks under 216.5. Then Philadelphia at Houston under 226.5. Then on the NHL, we're going to take San Jose and Anaheim over. Also, again in the NHL, we're going to take Winnipeg at St. Louis under 5.5. In the MLB, we're going to take over Chicago White Sox at Kansas City over 9.5. Also, back in the NBA, we're going to take over LA Lakers against Golden State over 225.5. And lastly, in the MLB, we're going to take under Arizona at the New York Mets under 7. All right, first off with Miami, I like taking them because I honestly think, despite their record, they're the better team, and they should be able to cover 4.5 points, and they might outright win. In Boston against the Knicks, I really, this is a rivalry game, and I like rivalry games tend to go over. I don't see this being a very high scoring game, so that's literally why I'm picking this one. I feel like they're gonna be playing harder, getting ready for the playoffs. Same thing with this Philly and Houston game. Houston games have been pretty much going under for most of the year, and I feel like the teams are getting ready for the playoffs, so it's gonna be more playoff basketball. It's gonna be more tightly played. As far as going over to the NHL, I like San Jose and Anaheim to go over. I really feel like this is going to be a lock again. This is going to be over. This will be my most confident pick of going over. Even though this is kind of a rivalry game for hockey, I do believe that they are just going to be letting the puck fly. One of my, I like the under 5.5 in the Winnipeg St. Louis game. I do think that they are going to be playing tight. Connor Hellebuck, or however you say his name, he's one of the best goalies in the league. He won the gold medal in the Olympics. He's really good. Also for this over in the 9.5 and the over 9.5 in the Chicago White Sox and Kansas City game. I'm not this new pitcher. He's a left-handed pitcher. He doesn't have a high strikeout prop, even though Seth Lugo is pretty good. So I believe the Kansas City will win, but it will be a high scoring game. Also for the LA Lakers and Golden State, I like the over in this spot because Steph Curry's back. I feel like they're gonna put up some points, and this is gonna be one of the best games of the night, just because it's Steph Curry going against LeBron. And then lastly, I like the under in the Arizona and New York Mets. I feel like this is gonna be a pitcher's duel in Mets Park, and we're gonna find out. But I do like the under 7 in this spot. All right, now here we have our alternate lines of the night, and just remember, yesterday all three of our alternate lines hit. And when you're making a parlay, it's very important to understand how these alternate lines work because they can literally make your parlay. So today, at first, we're gonna take under 225.5 for Boston and at New York. Now, I already took the under 216.5, but I'm giving myself another 6 points for the cushion on the under. Okay. Next, we have the under for the Arizona Diamondbacks at New York Mets. That's under 9. Now, I already took the under 7, so I want to give myself the extra 2 runs. It can be under 9. And lastly, for hockey, I like the under 6.5 for Winnipeg and St. Louis. So I'm gonna take the. I already took the under 5.5, but we're gonna take the under 6.5. Give myself an extra goal cushion, and this can really make your parlay if you really know what you're doing. Like I said yesterday, it was the difference between a push and another one was a flat out win. Now the one thing you have to remember, you are gonna get less juice, but it can make the difference in win.